Hi there, it's Linda here. Thanks for joining me today as I play with this fabulous Circlet Mini Tryfolds stamp and die set from Art Impressions. It's a great little set to play with. You get your stamps, as you can see here, and you get the dies that will cut out the inside of the images to give you this little window that looks in on the next image, and it makes a really fun birthday card. So first of all, I'm cutting my cardstock as it says in the instructions on the back of the pack. It's another fantastic thing about this. The instructions are all there, all the measurements, so it's very easy to follow. So I've measured up my piece of white cardstock to be 4 inches by 11 inches, and that's what you see me cutting here. With my fabulous Fiskars trimmer, which is always so handy with its guide wire. I just love it. And now it's time to mark my score line, so my card will fold into the 3 pieces. So you're going to make a little mark at every 3 5/8. So that's what you can see me counting along there. 3 5/8. That will cut or score it into even thirds. I'll grab out my Score Pal, another fabulous tool I've had for many years, very handy. And just scoring along at that 3 5/8 mark. A little bit of a mark there on the cardstock, and I'm now just rubbing it off my Score Pal because a bit of ink I think it was, and it seemed to get everywhere. So back to the scoring, and then you'll see how the Tryfold card folds neatly into its 3 different portions. Right, so once you've got that complete, it's time to start doing your stamping. So I've got stamp number 1 here in position on my MISTI, and I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I had thought I'd colour with Copic markers today. So I've centered my stamp, I've put it approximately 1 inch down from the top of my cardstock, and I've stamped with the Memento ink. Then it'll be a matter of taking it out of the MISTI and using the die to cut that inner part of the image out of the way, so you've just got your balloons and streamers. So just lining that up with the edges of that image and popping some painter's tape on there to hold it in place as it goes through my big shot, and there you can see the lovely little cutout window that you get. Right, so you then close your card up. That's the front of the card you can see there, and now I'm just tracing around the window that die has created, and that will help me position stamp number 2 onto the inside portion, the second part, I guess, of the card. So I just realised my MISTI is a bit filthy here, so because I've got the white cardstock, I really do not want any little marks to transfer over, so I'm just using my stamp chamois and a tissue to clean that up. So back into the MISTI, hold in place with my magnets. You can just lightly see the pencil marks there. And I'm grabbing off the stamp set, I'm grabbing image number 2 with the birthday cake and the balloons underneath, and just getting it in position so that it will stamp right on top of where the other image falls. Using the Memento Tuxedo Black again, making sure it's inked up. I really don't want to stamp again if I can help it, so I'm just trying to get a really good impression the first time, and that's pretty good, so I'm happy with that. Clean off my stamp, remove the stamp and my card, pop everything back into the package, and then grab the die and adhere it in place to cut those fun little sunray shaped sections from image number 2. Taking it over to my big shot, and it really does look fabulous when you get those little ray pieces cut out and just the birthday cake and all the candles shining on the top there. It's a lot of fun. So you can see how the image is coming together, and now it's just the third or very inner portion of the card that needs to be stamped, and of course no die cut for this piece, so just marking with my pencil again through that window section of this second image, and then I can pop it all back in my MISTI and get stamp number 3 out of the package and line it up with those pencil marks, and that helps you sort out exactly where it's going to go. So I do take a bit of eyeballing and lifting and looking through and checking, and before I'm very happy with the position of stamp number 3, and then it's a matter of inking it up. And I do have to stamp this one twice. The inner portion from memory doesn't quite stamp up crisply. I think my table is a bit saggy in the middle, I hate to say. That's not a good thing, is it? Not when you're a stamper. So anyway, you'll see when I stamp down, I do end up with a missed portion in the center of those presents there. So I just check which bit it is, go back, ink it up again, and I move my MISTI a bit closer to me this time when I stamp, because I think the edge of my desk is not saggy. Okay, and there we go, we get the nice clear image, and that's what it's going to look like when it's all finished. And of course, the next step is to colour it up. You do have to erase your pencil lines, which is not very difficult, just get rid of those so it's all nice and clean. So I did say to you I was going to colour with Copics, I know, and you think now you're using Prismacolor pencils. Linda, what is wrong with you? Well, I realised that Copic markers, of course, will show through to the back, and with a card like this, no, that's not going to be a good thing. You do not want to see your colouring coming through to the back, because you're going to be looking at the back as you open up to the portion 2 and 3. So I thought, rightio, forget the Copics, grab out the Prismas, and off we go. And in the end, all good. Not a problem that I ended up using the pencils instead. Of course, it's a very fine and quite small image each time that you're colouring, so I did not do a lot of blending. As you can see, each time I'm picking 2 colours in the colour family, and I just use those 2 colours to get a bit of a light and dark on that portion of the image. As you can see here with that balloon, those 2 colours are my all-time favourites too. I love, love, love them, and I come back to them all the time. I always want to use them. I have to make myself use other colours instead. But what I did today was I tried to have a range of bright, pretty colours for my card. I'm sort of thinking it's a card for a girl or a female friend, and just nice, bright, happy colours is what I was looking at. And I keep my colours out on the table once I've chosen them and used them, because I wanted to reuse the same colours and sort of have it all connecting in that way from image 1 through to 3. My trusty little Prismacolor sharpener is fantastic too, to get that nice sharp point on your pencils, which makes the colouring in these tiny little areas a lot easier. So, just a matter of colouring away each image, getting some areas a bit darker than others, going back over for a bit more definition. And I won't be able to show you every bit of colouring, because we'll be here for about an hour if I do, and I'm sure that will bore you to tears. So it's all fairly simple. I will speed up the colouring and chop out some, so you certainly don't look at or watch the whole thing. But mostly it's 2 colours. Occasionally, like the chocolate on the cake for image number 2, I just use 1 colour for the brown chocolate cake, and I press harder around the edges of the cake to give a darker chocolate, and that's what I'm doing here, just colouring the chocolate light coverage at first, then a bit darker under the icing and a bit darker at the sides, and blend those together, and that works fine. You don't have to have 2 or more colours. With these small images, there's not a lot of space. So keep it simple. Don't make everything too difficult for yourself. Alright, I'm going to leave you with colouring, let you enjoy these images as they come to life, and I will be back with a little more chat very soon. And we're on to image number 3, and not too much longer and all my colouring is done. Then I decide that I'd like to add some colour to the white space around these images. So I'm cutting a mask here with a very old Spellbinder's circle die, and then adhering the mask down to cover the image area, and then using my Distress Oxide inks to blend colour on each portion of the card. So this is the front, or piece 1, and I use picked raspberry and peacock feathers, and I blend the two together at the side to get that purple mix. And I do this for each portion. So once I'm happy with the blending, I lift up the mask and I'm happy with that. I do love that, yes, just makes it a bit more colourful. I do fossilised amber and peacock feathers again for the second image, splatter on some water, lift it up with a tissue, and then inside is twisted citron and cracked pistachio. Splatter on some water and then also a little bit of paint as well. So just some Craft white paint, mix it with a bit of water, splatter on some white. My card is finished. Some silver stars, a silver sentiment, and I hope you've enjoyed the process. Bye now.